boys and girls! So, we are back. I thought for this painting that we could continue our study of American art 19th century, and we should do a focus on landscape since we did cover the Hudson School of Landscape Painting. So we'll kind of do our own unique version of a landscape. I did draw mine out in pencil first to save us some time, and I suggest you do the same before you apply Sharpie, which is my next step. Yeah, I've got an Ultra and then just a regular Sharpie. But boys and girls, if mom and dad don't want you to use Sharpies, then just use a dark marker or press hard with your pencil. Okay, so I'm going to go in, I'll probably go in with my regular size first. I'm going to outline all my pencil marks. And I'm sure you've noticed, but with my painter's tape, which is the blue triangle tape here, I made a triangle instead of outlining just the regular size of the paper. I saw this on Pinterest and thought it looked super cool when you peel it off. If you don't have painter's tape, you could always use regular tape, and just don't push as hard so when you peel it off it doesn't rip your paper, but it'll still work just as fine. Okay, I'm just picking certain attributes that I want to be in a fatter Sharpie color. And yes, this is a tent. My landscape is in the mountains because I miss the mountains. Okay, so now I got into my Ultra for my tiny little details. And then if you guys remember from when we did perspective, the objects in the back are smaller, giving the illusion that they're really far away. Okay, and then this is my attempt at a fire. Okay, I'll try and trace faster here. Okay. Alright. I got this side of the tree and right here. And then I threw in a moon because it's my favorite. It's my favorite evening object. Okay, so now what I'm going to do before I start to paint, like I tell you guys to do all the time, erase any visible pencil marks before you dive in with the paint. Oops! And looky there, I forgot a spot. There we go. So if you paint over your pencil marks, sometimes the watercolor will amplify your pencil marks, so you'll see them even more. And with your landscapes, you can include anything. You can do a Baby Yoda landscape. Luke, that's a shout out to you. You could do hot air balloons flying around. Chase, like in your perspective. Okay, I'm going to stop name calling because now I forget what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to go in. I'm going to use some salt, which I have right here, for my sky. And then what I'm going to do is watercolor just a nice base over my landscape. So when this dries, I'll do landscape part 2 with some details on top. And you know what else, you guys? I forgot to do something. Since my mountains, these are in the shade, instead of just watercoloring them a dark color, I'm going to do some Sharpie patterns to make it look shaded. Okay. We have not really done a whole lot of this. You can do a lot with Sharpies if you have them around the house. If not, no big deal. Okay. You know what? I'm going to do that with the tree trunks too. Okay. Alrighty, let's dive into some paint. Okay, so because I'm going to do some salt with my sky, I think I'm going to do my sky last, just to make sure I don't get salt down here. And I will probably do some salt in my river as well. As for everything else, I'm just going to do a nice light shade over the whole thing. Probably green. Okay, and I want kind of a murky green, so I'm going to mix a little bit of brown in there. Alright, here we go. And it doesn't really matter, I'm not worried too much about perfection right now, because I'm going to go over with all my details with darker shades of markers on top. Okay, let's see. I'm going to stick with this color on the other side. And then I'll go over and maybe lighten my trees a little bit before I let it dry. And boys and girls, if you have different sized brushes, that would be perhaps a better application of paint, but you just gotta work with what you've got. Okay, I'm gonna paint right over that fire. Okay, now for my tent. My real tent when I go backpacking is orange. So you know what? I think I'm going to do an orangey brownish tent. I don't know about you guys. I know a lot of you go camping and backpacking. And this beautiful weather is just getting me so excited. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and use a lighter green just to go over some of the trees. There we go. And it is watercolor, so I'm not really worried about perfection. Like a lot of you are. I won't name names, you know who you are. Let's just try and have some fun and not worry about making it perfect. Okay, now before I go further, I want to get a little bit of yellow just around my fireplace, just to make it look like fire. Okay, alright, and then maybe I'll pick just this brown to go over my lines. You know what? And that paint was more opaque than I thought, but no worries. That is why I have a paper towel. I will just dab it up. Okie dokie. Okay, so now we'll do the fun part. Let's dive right in. I'm going to pick a nice shade of blue, and boys and girls, I know you've heard me say this a million times, but mix, so it's nice and rich and vibrant. Mix. Okie dokie. So, I decided last minute I'm going to do blue for the river, and then I'm going to pick a nice purple to do up top with my blue for the sky. If you remember, green and purple are complementary colors on the color wheel, so they might look nice together. Okay. Perfection, don't really care. There we go. I'm just going to double up that line. There we go. Okay, now for the fun sky. I've been eyeing this purple since we started. Right here. Mix, 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 mix. Now I'm going to do purple and blue, but I'll start with purple. Perhaps I'll do purple down below. There we go. And then I'm going to paint right over that moon, because I'll add the details when it dries. Alright, now I've got my blue, and I'm going to do my blue up top. And I'm just going to slowly blend them together, just not worrying about perfection. Ooh, there we go. Okay, now we haven't really done this in the classroom a whole lot, but this is just some water, sometimes spraying it before you apply the salt. Just make sure that your paint is wet, or else the salt won't work. So I'm going to spray a little bit of water, and on my river, and then I'm going to sprinkle the salt. And remember, once you apply the salt, no touchy. If you touch, then it will not work. Woo, this is exciting. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'm just going to wait and just watch out for landscape part 2. And I'll peel up the blue tape and do some details. Okay, friends. Oh, and I forgot to say this. You can make any kind of shape you want with your tape. You can draw it with pencil. You can outline it in white crayon. If you remember, for crayon resist, that'll create a natural line also. Or you don't have to do a shape at all. You can just do the entire paper. It's up to you as the artist. Okay, my friends, I had lots of fun doing this, and I hope you did too. And I'll see you in part 2. Bye!